how do you lead in these times, and what's the role of a CIO in this type of an environment? And so you guys have been through this a couple different times in your career, and we started to talk about prior to getting on this about mentorship. Maybe we can start out with relationships and how critical those play in times like this. Jim, you want to start?
Sure. Well, Bill, thinking back to our last interview, you called me Mr. Empathetic, I think. But, we're in a service organization. We're here to help the business run. The business runs through people. So we have to have good relationships with people, not just us, but our teams and our support organizations. With regard to the current situation, if you have those relationships, it's a lot easier to work with people and to get them through it. If the relationships aren't there, I think it's personally a great time to start establishing them or to improve them. As a leader, when that proverbial stuff hits the fan, you've got to get out front. You've got to be.
It's okay to say it, Jim.
Thank you. I'm trying. This is PG. You've got to be out front, and you got to over communicate. You can't have a tendency to hide or not be out there. Beat your users, your management to the punch. Get out there. What are they thinking? Put yourself in their position. What do I need to know as a business leader to know that my CIO, that my IT group has our back? And get out there in front and over communicate. That's the first step.
I'm going to agree with Jim. So I've learned from Jim. I've known Jim for 20 plus years. I also look at Jim as a mentor. So one of the things I've learned from him is to be more empathetic. I'm much more of a technical individual. Sometimes I forget that this is all built on relationships, though I still feel like I do that very well, not nearly as well as Jim. So we have to know what we're good at, but I'm agree with him. Reach out if you don't already have those relationships. And him and I both have the luxury of being at our companies for quite some time. I've been at Structural for almost 20 years now. So I know all the key players. I know all the minor players. Reach out, reach a hand out. Just a quick example, when this all happened, our marketing team realized that they couldn't get out and do all of their seminars, that they're packed right now. And we're going out to schools, we're recruiting, and they came and said, well, we're going to convert all of this to webinars, and we're going to have 200 people on the call, 4 of them a day. How are we going to handle that? And they turned to me. And so they gave me the call. I picked up the phone. I said, hey, I'm pretty sure that our UCAS system can handle it. What's plan B? So what if plan A doesn't work? What's plan B? And then if plan B doesn't work, what's plan C? So let's make sure that we have all of those things in play. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to sit on all those calls on the first 2 days. So I'll dial in. I'll be not just technical support, but let me understand what it is that you do. What kind of information are you handing out? And so then after the call, we can talk about, from a strategy perspective, as long as the technology worked the way that it should, from a strategy perspective, what can we do differently? How can we help?
And I learned from you, Jason, is don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. You, more than anyone, you get in the weeds and you really know what's going on in your organization. And as a CIO, you need to do that. Even those areas that you're not as comfortable with, you got to get in. Now, you don't need to know as much as the technical experts. That's why you hire them. But you need to know how to deal with that technology, how to make those decisions. Where's the net, right? What's the plan B, plan C? Just like you mentioned, that's what you're being paid for. You've got to stay on that. You got to be involved in that. You can't leave that up to somebody else.